Yo, what's up? My name's Patrouski, and I'm convinced that the money-making method we are covering today might be the easiest, most consistent money for new players within PokeMMO. The best part is, all you need to do this is any Pokemon with False Swipe. It can be a bad Breloom like this, or any Smeargle, or really anything, and you need access up to Rustboro in Hoenn Complete. Now you might be asking, Patrouski, what is the money-making method? It is just catching Ninkatas, and you can just false swipe and then Pokeball them and catch them very, very consistently. They can be found at a decently common rate over here on Route 116, just to the northeast of Rustboro City. It's right over here. It's pretty darn easy to get to. You can bike back to the PC really quickly. There's a bunch of people that farm over here and also Shiny Hunt Skitty over here. Now, just like every money-making method that relies on catching Pokemon within PokeMMO, this is going to rely on supply and demand in the current state of the economy, so make sure before you do any money-making method within PokeMMO, this should be commonplace, to go ahead and go check the GTL and check the prices currently. Right now, there is one Ninkata for 2,000 Pokeyen, but generally, these go for about 3,000 to 5,000 Pokeyen apiece, 2,000 at the lowest. You can also find Skitties here at a rare encounter rate, and those sell for about 4 to 5k as well. But Patrouski, why would people even want bad Skitties and bad Ninkatas? The answer is almost always shiny hunting. Skitty is actually typically an egg shiny hunt, a very difficult one costing hundreds of millions of Pokeyen, but one of the best ways to hunt it is to egg hunt it rather than to single encounter it here, but some people still choose to single encounter it, of course. So people are going to need that for that, as well as Ninkatas people use to hunt shiny Shedinja. Shiny Shedinja actually ends up being one of the most unique shiny hunts within PokeMMO because it's unlike any other Pokemon. You see, the way you even get a Shedinja is by evolving a Ninkata into a Ninjast with a Pokeball in your bag and an empty party space. And if you do that, your Ninkata will evolve into a Ninjast, and there will also be a Shedinja that spawns as sort of an offshoot to it. So in TLDR, to shiny hunt Shedinja, you need to evolve around 30,000 Ninkatas on average. So every person shiny hunting for Shedinja needs 30,000 Ninkatas, which keeps them in pretty darn good demand. And catching all of these Pokemon are super, super easy. But once again, just run away from anything that isn't a Ninkata. I'm going to go ahead and put 1 hour on the clock, start my timer, and I will see you guys with our first Ninkata encounter. Or a Skitty encounter, which is supposed to be rarer than the Ninkata, but I'm always lucky. But it's perfect because the catch strategy is still the same. All you need to do is false swipe it. It's a level 8 Pokemon, extremely low level, and then go ahead and spam your Pokeball. I'm actually going to make sure to go ahead and keybind my Pokeball here during this, so make it a lot faster. We can go ahead and keybind our Pokeball, spam our F2 key every time we're ready, false swipe, Pokeball, it'll catch every single time. I'm going to see you guys after 1 hour, and we'll see how much Pokeyen we can make from this. All right, as you can see, our clock is ticking down to the final 5 seconds here, so this will probably be our final Ninkata. Boom, right on time. It's time to go check our PC, see how many Ninkatas and how many Skitties we ended up with. Another nice thing about this method is that as a new player, you don't even need to understand how to price check anything, right? You don't need to look through all the IVs and understand whether to judge it as an egg group Pokemon or, you know, as an Ninkata. Nope, everything is just a nice flat price. We also got a few extra items here, actually. I believe soft sands. So we got 3 extra soft sands, and those currently go for about 4,000 Pokeyen a piece. So that's like 12k Pokeyen in extra items. That is fantastic. I'm going to take those off the Pokemon, go get my calculator, add 12,000 on. Let's start calculating our profits. Now, of course, just like any money-making method, there is a cost to this, but thankfully, it's just however many Pokeballs times however many Pokemon. So it's going to be 43. So 43 times 200. That is our total cost, around 8,600, let's say 9,000 Pokeyen. So we're going to knock 9k off that 12k, leaving us with 3,000 Pokeyen profit so far, and then everything else is pure profit. I did end up with 3 different Ninkatas with 1x31s, which is kind of crazy that I only got 3 in 43 catches. That is very unlucky, but sometimes it's worth to sell these as breeders. Sometimes it isn't. That is the one price check you do have to do, but thankfully you don't have to do that many of these. But what I would do for this, for example, is this is a Ninkata with 31 special attack and it's male. I would head over to the GTL. I would go to the bugged A group, which is what Ninkata is in. If you don't know the A group of Pokemon, you can always check check the summary, click this little button, go to the Pokedex, and see its aid groups, where you can see bug. It's in the bug aid group. It's got 31 Spatak. It is male. That's important. Go ahead and search and then do the lowest price. These will go for a little over 3K. You could sell these on the GTL. I would honestly just go ahead and include these in what's called a Ninkata box, and I'll explain that in a quick sec, because that is going to be really how you maximize your profits when selling Ninkatas. I severely recommend selling these as a Ninkata box, which is just 60 Ninkatas, as opposed to selling them on the GTL. Every time you sell one of these on the GTL, you're going to eat 1,000 Pokeyen from the listing fee, so it's really not worth to do that if possible. You want to get all your profits, right? If you sell 60 Ninkatas, right, for 3,000 Pokeyen a piece, you're actually only getting, let's go to our calculator. If you sell, 60 Ninkatas for 3K a piece on the GTL, you're actually only getting 2K a piece. That's a profit of 120K. Still not bad, right? But if you can sell them for 3K a piece in a Ninkata box, which is pretty easy to do in my opinion, you can get 180K. A massive difference. You're probably earning like an extra 50K per hour if you make sure to sell these as a box and not just on the GTL. Now the skitties, however, I would just sell these on the GTL, and make sure to double check the male versus female. I would bet that female skitties go for more, but it can depend. Let's first finish off though with our 1x31 Ninkata. We do have a speed, and that might be worth a little bit extra. Same thing as before, male, bug aid group, and then 31 speed, whatever your IV is in, and it's about the same price. So honestly, I would just go ahead and throw this into a Ninkata box personally. So we have a total of 7 skitties to go ahead and sell, and 6 of them are female. The gender does matter, because when someone is buying a skitty, they're probably buying it to shiny hunt with it, so the females are more desired to keep the species. These skitties will go for about 5,000 Pokeyen a piece, and I have no qualms with selling these on the GTL and making 4,000 Pokeyen profit per skitty. I would go ahead and list them at 499 to save a little bit of time on the sale. And that is 4,000 Pokeyen times 6 of these skitties. That's going to be 24,000 Pokeyen plus our 3K from earlier at 27K profit so far. I'm going to go ahead and start listing these off. Now, as always, with any money-making method, I do expected profit, so please leave some leeway here. It would just take too much time to wait for individual thing to sell. And when it comes to PokeMMO, if you understand the market well, I say that about 90 to 92% of stuff will sell pretty darn quickly as well. A lot of the human error in PokeMMO comes from incorrect listings, and it's something that I still find myself making mistakes on, even after so many thousands of hours of gameplay. Price checking is just incredibly complex and in-depth within PokeMMO. You're always learning more. And for that final skitty, I'm going to go ahead and list it for that 4799 number and hope that sells, but that might sell a little bit slower. And we're going to add about 4K on that. It was slightly less than that, but we'll undercut something else in the future. So we're at 31K profit so far with a ton of Ninkatas. Now, once again, for selling the Ninkatas, I severely recommend heading over to my Discord or a trade chat or any other Discord that allows trading for PokeMMO and trying to sell them as a Ninkata box. If I head up here and I search for Ninkata boxes, you can actually find people buying Ninkata boxes and selling Ninkata boxes pretty regularly. Now, people do a couple different prices. It seems like a lot of buyers like to try to buy them for 120K if possible, but in my opinion, I think it's very fair to try to sell these for about 180K a piece, but once again, it just depends on the supply and demand. For example, right now, the cheapest Ninkata on the GTL is actually about 4,000 Pokeyen, and this is kind of perfect for this video because honestly, if they're at this price, I would recommend go ahead and selling them on the GTL. This is kind of a rare lazy man's W. If they're at 4K a piece, I think it's totally fine to go ahead and sell them on the GTL. It's unlikely someone's going to offer you more than this for a box. I think this is a super fair way to go about it. But if you're selling them as a box, I would try to get about 3K per Ninkata. I think that 120K price is a little bit too low in my opinion because you can't really reliably, that's valuing them at 2K a Ninkata. And it is really hard as someone who is shiny hunted Shedinja to consistently find 2K Ninkatas on the GTL. I feel like that's a little bit too unfair to the seller, but once again, it is dependent on the supply and demand and really whatever someone's willing to pay. So I would try to sell them as a box at 3,000 Pokeyen per piece. I'm going to value them today at 3,000 Pokeyen a piece because I think that's the average cost of a Ninkata. They can be anywhere from 2K at the lowest, I've usually seen them, up to 5K per Ninkata at the highest, which might happen in the upcoming months during Shiny War. This is a great money-making method to check on every few months, check on the supply and demand, and especially check during Shiny Wars to see if the supply, or the demand rather, the demand is being supplied or being filled. All right, but I promise from this point forward, I will not say supply and demand anymore. We have 36 total Ninkados to price check today, so I'm going to do 36 times 3,000 Pokeyen, even selling those other ones as just, once again, just normal Ninkados, since the IVs don't really add a whole lot here. That's 108,000 Pokeyen, plus our previous 31,000. That's going to leave us with about 111, nope, can't do math. That is going to leave us with a proper 139,000 Pokeyen profit. And to be able to do this as a new player from scratch with less than one region done, not even one region done, you know, is needed to be able to do this money making method, is pretty darn solid in my opinion. It is not the best money making method by any means within PokeMMO, but it is just so incredibly new player friendly. So chill, so brain dead. You just need nothing. You don't have to pay attention. You can play different games on the side while you passively do this. And this is a great money making method to do with tons of alt accounts. If you have multiple devices and you want to play Pokemon on multiple accounts, you can get really chill beginner alt accounts and grind this with like 3 different accounts and make over 400,000 Pokeyen profit per hour. And I think it's pretty low effort to be able to, you know, mechanically use all 3 of those accounts doing such a chill method. It's also nice if you care about shiny Skitty or doing your own Shedinja hunt. The fact that you can passively shiny hunt for Skitty while you make some money is really solid. Overall, if I were to grade this money making method, I think I would give it a B on my scale, S tier being the best, then A, then B, then C, then D, and etc, etc. I would go ahead and give it right in the middle there at that B tier. Not quite a B minus, although it's kind of just leaning towards B minus, since it's just not a whole lot of Pokeyen per hour. But once again, it is just so easy to do, so low requirements, and really passive and really alt accountable, as well as having that passive shiny hunting for Skitty. But that is the end of my review and test for Ninkata farming. Go check it out for yourself, and especially double check it when the market is good for it and Ninkatas are at like 5,000 Pokeyen a piece. Make sure to take advantage of that. Every money making method in PokeMMO ebbs and flows, and it's important to always change what money making methods you are doing. You do not want to flood this market by only Ninkata farming all day, every day. You want to jump around to do different activities to keep things nice and healthy and earn yourself the most amount of Pokeyen. But that's it for me. I hope you guys found this video helpful. Make sure to like it if you did. Subscribe for daily PokeMMO videos. Follow me on Twitch for streams Monday through Thursday at 12 p.m. ET. Discord's down below if you're interested in that. And if you want to go above and beyond and support the channel, YouTube memberships, Twitch Primes, Twitch subs, and PayPal and Venmo donations do help me a ton and allow me to put time here. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. I'll see you guys later. Good luck on your Ninkatas. All right, I don't usually do this for my videos, but just because these sold so quickly before I could even export the video, here is proof of all of my listings selling. All of these Skitties you can see here, all the Ninkatas. I stack a bunch of Pokemon in here. All the Ninkatas, as you can see here, these sold all within less than 24 hours. Tons of fast, good, easy Pokeyen. Yo, what's up? Outro Patrouski here, and I wanted to say thank you so much to everybody's name who is on this list. You really allow me to make the content that I do every single day, and I hope I can make it worth your guys' while and add to your PokeMMO journey. Thanks again so much for watching the entire video, and have a great day.